She leaned into the microphone, smiling like she wasn't about to detonate her marriage live. The ring light hummed. The screen washed her face in clean, white calm. On the other side of the table, her husband adjusted his headset, casual, confident, still in his polished smile mode. He thought it was another relationship episode. Just another safe talk about honesty and growth. "Ready?" she asked. He nodded. No clue what that word meant tonight. She hit the red button. The on-air sign flicked green. Her voice came out smooth, like a practiced melody, like muscle memory. "Good evening, everyone. Today's topic is forgiveness." A wave of hearts and comments scrolled up her screen. People loved the theme. Forgiveness always played well. He laughed, leaned closer. "Guess that's your favorite word these days." "Maybe," she said, and her smile didn't move an inch. Every motion was precise. Hand on mug, eyes to camera, tone steady. Inside, it was a slow pulse, something rising, waiting for air. She asked him the first question. "What do you think people hide behind apologies for?" He smirked. "Guilt, mostly. Some people say sorry just to keep control." That line would replay later across thousands of phones. She nodded, let silence hang a second longer than needed. The kind that made the chat pause too. Then she looked right at him. "That's interesting. What about lies?" He blinked, chuckled. "Lies? Yeah. Lies you tell the ones who trust you most." The air shifted. Same room, same silence, only heavier now. He laughed again, but softer now, unsure. "We going off script?" "Maybe," she said. "Maybe it's time to." The camera light reflected in her wedding band, green and sharp. She could feel the weight of the truth pressing against her ribs. Not yet. Not this minute. First, she wanted him to feel safe enough to talk, to hang himself with comfort. The chat kept asking for stories about betrayal. She almost laughed. Betrayal sat 3 feet away, calm as ever, sipping tea. He looked at her, half amused, half suspicious. "You're quiet tonight." She met his gaze. "I'm just listening." That word, listening, carried a sound he didn't catch. Outside, traffic murmured. Inside, everything held its breath. He still didn't know. He still didn't know. He was talking about emotional transparency while stirring sugar into his tea. The spoon hit the cup too loud. It made her flinch. She smiled again, smaller now. "Do you think people can ever really know each other?" He shrugged. "Depends on what they want to find out." That line almost made her laugh. How neatly it fit the lie he'd built. She checked the chat. "Tell us about your marriage," someone wrote. "Perfect," he said before she could speak. "We fight like anyone, but we always tell the truth." He said it easily, like breathing. Like betrayal wasn't a language he spoke fluently. Her throat felt dry. "Truth," she repeated, just to hear the word out loud. He missed the tremor in it. For a second, she wasn't in the studio anymore. She was back in that dark edit room 2 months ago, her laptop glowing at 2:13 a.m. The hum of the fridge, her sister's laugh on the recording. Then his voice. Soft, familiar, meant for someone else. She remembered stopping the playback, rewinding, listening again, fingers trembling just enough to pause the timeline in the same place 3 times. That sound, her sister whispering, "I love you too," was the reason she never cried after that night. She'd gone completely still instead. The audience laughed at something he said. She didn't catch it. He was relaxed again, leaning back, enjoying the sound of his own story. "You ever think," she said slowly, "that sometimes people deserve to hear the truth the hard way?" He frowned. "What's that supposed to mean?" "Just a thought," she said, adjusting her mic. "We talk about honesty like it's safe." He shifted in his chair. The leather creaked. The light above them flickered once, a pulse of green across the table. Somewhere inside the wall, a vent clicked, a dry, hollow sound that made her throat tighten. She felt her heartbeat sync with it, steady, deliberate. Then she reached for the paper beside her notes. The one she'd folded 3 times. He didn't notice. Not yet. Break coming up? He asked, smiling again. Soon, she said. Just one more question. Her voice had changed, calmer, lower. He didn't hear the storm in it, but the audience did. The chat went quiet, and somewhere between her breath and the next word, something cracked in the air, thin, invisible, irreversible. The paper sat under her hand like a live wire, folded clean, corners sharp. She could feel the heat from the light overhead, steady and surgical. He was talking again, about rebuilding trust, some half-scripted philosophy he'd probably stolen from a self-help reel. She let him talk. Let him believe he still owned the room. You know, she said quietly, people send the strangest things when you go live. He looked at her, puzzled. What do you mean? Messages, recordings, confessions. She tapped the folded paper. Sometimes even love notes. He laughed. A reflex, a nervous tick she'd seen before. What, like fan mail? She smiled. Something like that. There was a hum in the room now, low and constant. The kind of sound you only hear when adrenaline kicks in. She unfolded the paper, slow enough to make the mic catch the sound. The chat noticed. The comments rolled. What's happening / is this part of the show / OMG she's serious. She didn't read it yet. Not the message. Just the date at the top, February 17th. Her birthday. The night he'd said he was stuck in traffic. He leaned forward. What are you doing? Just sharing something personal, she said. Since we're talking about truth. Her voice was steady now. Too steady. Inside, everything lined up. The file name, the timestamp, the laughter in that recording. Every lie had a rhythm, and she'd memorized his. He tried to smile again, but his hand twitched near the keyboard. Babe, we didn't plan this. No, she said. You didn't. She looked into the camera, her reflection small in the lens. For those listening, she said, I once believed love meant trust. A pause, the kind that rearranges air. Then I heard my husband's voice, telling my sister he'd finally found someone who understood him. The silence after hit harder than any scream. He froze. The color drained from his face, but he stayed, maybe thinking it was still salvageable, maybe too shocked to move. Her eyes didn't leave the lens. This isn't a story about heartbreak, she said softly. It's about clarity. He whispered, You're not serious. But she was. Every word, every breath. And in that breath, you could hear the moment he realized she'd been serious all along. He reached for the soundboard, probably thinking he could mute her mic too late. The chat had already exploded. Thousands of live viewers. Screens recording in real time. His face was everywhere before he could even blink. Turn it off, he said, voice cracking through the calm. She didn't move. No, she whispered. Not this time. The ring light burned bright, cutting shadows into their faces. He stood, pacing, one hand on his head, the other fumbling for his phone. Jesus, you're insane, he hissed. You're ruining us. She almost smiled. You did that months ago. I'm just giving it a microphone. He froze when she pressed play on her laptop. That voice. His. And then, her sister's laugh. For a moment, the audio filled the space so completely that even the air seemed to back away. He lunged forward to stop it, but she'd already locked the screen. Her voice came back through the mic, softer, almost kind. You told her you felt seen. I heard it too. He stopped. There it was, the quiet collapse of a man realizing his power had just turned to dust. The chat was wild now. Oh my God / she caught him / is this real / she's savage / no way this is live. Every comment another nail in the illusion. She took off her headphones and set them down. The movement was so deliberate it felt like punctuation. He stood there, sweating, lips trembling, words failing him. End it, he said. She looked at the lens, not at him. It already ended. He slammed the door on his way out. The sound echoed, Wooden, hollow, final. She didn't flinch, just stared into the green glow of the mic. People were still watching, thousands of them, waiting for what she'd say next. Sometimes, she said, voice steady now, truth doesn't heal, it stops the bleeding. Then she reached forward, not to turn it off, but to push the volume up. Because silence, she decided, would have been mercy. Morning came gray and heavy. The studio smelled like cold coffee and dust. She hadn't slept. The mic still sat on the desk, same as last night, silent, but not innocent. Her phone buzzed without stopping. News outlets, messages, screenshots. He'd deleted everything. Profiles, brand tags, even their anniversary posts. But the internet never forgets. She walked barefoot across the floor, slow, careful, as if the house itself might break if she moved too fast. Everywhere she looked were traces of the life they'd built to be watched. Framed photos, branded mugs, their wedding vows printed on acrylic. She didn't touch any of it. At the sink, she poured out what was left in her mug. The tea had gone black and sour. For a moment she just stood there, listening to the quiet. It wasn't peace. Not yet. But it was hers. A knock came from outside, delivery guy. 2 boxes. New equipment she'd ordered weeks ago. She signed without looking, carried them in, set them beside the table. Then she sat down, flipped the switch. The green light blinked again. Her voice came out rough, lower than usual. I guess, she said, truth costs what it costs. No script this time. No smile. Just the sound of someone who'd finally stopped pretending. She just spoke, like someone who'd finally remembered her own voice. She talked about lies that sound like love and silence that sounds like safety. People listened. Thousands again. Not for gossip, for permission to stop forgiving. When she finished, she turned the mic off. The green light died. The screen showed her reflection for a second. Tired eyes, steady breath. No makeup, no apology. Then black. For the first time in months, she didn't feel watched. Across the street, her neighbor's house was for sale. A small sold sign hung crooked under the porch light. She smiled, not because she envied it, but because it reminded her of something. And she wasn't smiling anymore. He thought silence was power. She proved it wasn't.